there's a lot of talk about the afterlife, and with people postulating how either they'll go to heaven or they will be they will have some very special privileges upon leaving this world due to their acts here. Now, could it be that one does all he thinks he has done, which is in quotes good or bad in quotes, but yet he finds himself in still in a nasty situation on the real side after the translation.
Okay, so what are you basically saying here? That as we go through this life and all of a sudden you go to the other side, things aren't too good?
Yes.
That's a scary thought, isn't it? Things are scary here. Well, again, this is where, and this is good, I constantly go over this, and this is where intent is very important, and not just the surface world being self-convinced, because it's one-dimensional. And if you stay stuck in that one-dimensional self-convinced sense, it's like, oh, well, I know this, I know that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine, have fun. You will carry that over to the so-called other side, which is all here and now, too. You will carry that over because that will be you. I've seen it. And so, and what's interesting is that because you carry that over, and now you have an objective view of where you've been on Earth here, and now you're in outer space or the astral realm or wherever you're at. Okay, it doesn't matter. Or you're still here as a ghost, like on the Queen Mary and some of these hotels. You're still here as a ghost because you're so emotionally attached to being self-convinced. You really don't go anywhere. Now you're just invisible to where you're at. That's all. Now all of a sudden it's like, gee, where am I? What do I do? I'm screwed. In a way, yes, until you figure it out. And again, it's up to you. And the guidance is always there. But, you know, lots of times people forget about that. All of a sudden they forget because, or they're not even aware of where they're at. They're kind of like in a fog because they didn't take a look at their whole being, the whole experience of themselves. They were just focused on the surface world. And now the surface world is gone. It's no longer there. You know, it's kind of like when we go to the movies and we watch the movie, and I like the movies. I'm in it. I'm in the movie. I'm part of the adventure, etc. Whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm part of it. But when the movie's over, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, okay, you're back. It's time to get up. But sometimes you can hardly get out of the theater seat because, like, you're just so into it, maybe even sweating or crying or whatever, just depends upon the movie. And you almost don't want to leave because, again, now that's like you just passed over. And now what is there? Oh, you're going to go home to your routine. You're going to go where? It's the same. See, this is where we decide our adventure. We decide how aware we're going to become, how awake we're going to become. So it's really no longer the idea of passing over. This is just a marketing ploy, and the religions use it all the time. Oh, when you die, you'll be okay. Okay. But while you're alive, basically the idea is you're not going to be okay. But when you die, you'll be okay. But guess what? It's marketing ploy. You're not going to be okay there either because they still got you. Because you didn't recognize your real intent. You didn't recognize your real awareness. You didn't take the time to recognize your 5 bodies and go through the process. You know? So it's like the difference between, and this is not a good analogy, but like a high school dropout and university graduate where they excel with their life and they have the experiences they want, where the other person just kind of mopes around, you might say, but that's not the best example. But, in a literal sense, it can be. We'll just use that as an example. And so, yeah, this is the scary part. You always have to face yourself. And this is the part that most people pretend. They pretend that everything's okay and that they'll get through it, etc., which is understandable, and you'll be able to deal with it. You can be in that fog for thousands of years, and you'll get through it. Yeah, if that's okay with you, because again, you made the choice. You didn't pay attention. You didn't do your homework, you might say. The boys ain't going to do it for you. Just like the teacher in school. Teacher's not going to do your homework. Teacher's not going to qualify you for your diploma to graduate, to go into the next step, to qualify into a job or a position or whatever that others have gotten themselves into and so-called succeeding. No, they're not gonna do that for you. You have to do that because you have endless potential. You just have to recognize how to deal with that, how to deal with yourself. That's the biggest thing, not the outside world. The outside world is just creation, but yourself and your real awareness, and you have the potential for everything. But at the same time, most people are given to their created self, thinking that it should decide, when it's the real you to recognize that. But again, it takes a few minutes to do that, doesn't it? So yes, we're in an interesting situation here, and it's kind of back to the first question, Charles, in a way, is, where's the guarantee? You see, there's no such thing. And so Joni, with her brochures and whatever about Harry, they've marketed it so well, just like religions. It's so well marketed, isn't it? Could you see a bird sitting in its nest reading a brochure about the possibilities of where you could fly to and whatever? It's like, oh, gee, I can fly here. No, well, I can fly here too. Wow, I didn't know that. I can just fly anywhere. Well, the bird's already doing that, isn't it? Does it need the brochure? Does it need the roadmap to do all that? We have our real awareness. Once you recognize that and how things work, that's the best part. And especially when you can focus it to such a realness and objectively compare it to all the things that the personal self is looking at. When you can focus it to this isness, the old saying is all life is one. This is this oneness. Then you see everything. But while you are in the personal self and you have all these things going on, no, you only see little pieces in creation that are one-dimensional. But when you learn to focus on this isness and stand real with it completely, then you see everything. This is very interesting. And to the personal self, it would seem, oh, gee, that's boring. Okay, what do you do there? It's like when Paul first was going to Rebisar's hut, and he looked around and he said, gee, what do you do here? See, again, that's the personal self. But when you have this oneness view, really, when you have it, you see everything. And you don't need all the little pieces because you already see them. So you don't have to chase all the little pieces. This is where people's attention is scattered all over the place. They have their little personal ideas first, and then all the things that go with those little personal things and their little this and that's. Oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. When you can get to the point where all that's gone, and you just focus now with the is, you will see, and you will see what is, and you will know what to do that's real. Yes, more so than any personal decision. But it's very fine. It's very fine to look at the personal side and really recognize this. So again, when a person passes over, for the most part, they have no idea what their real intent is, their real awareness. So for the most part, they may, end up in some happy little place or whatever. Maybe they, as they grew old, they were in some senior home that was nice. Well, for the most part, they'll probably just go, unless they have a whole lot of emotional attachments, they'll probably just go to another senior home in the astral realm. Because again, that's all they know. They didn't take the risk. They just kind of went along with the programming or what the brochure said. Kind of like in that old movie with Goldie Hawn, Private Benjamin, where she was promised if she joined the military that she'd get her own condo. Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it?